Over the past 10 years, human trafficking has grown exponentially. It's in our country,
our cities,
our homes.
Today, millions of children are trapped in modern-day slavery. Can it end? We've done it before.
History has shown that when enough dedicated people rally together, change is inevitable. All it can take is 10 minutes,
10 letters,
$10.
10 people telling others about the horrors of this industry. Human trafficking is the human rights issue of our time.
But it doesn't have to be. Let's end it.
Let's end it indeed. Happy Friday, everybody, and welcome to Zoe International's Hope in Action live stream, or maybe Saturday, depending on where you're watching from around the world. Thank you all for tuning in. My name is Christian, and it is an honor to have you guys here with us yet again. Thank you for taking time out of your day to learn more about the issues that matter. Here at Zoe International, we're going to jump right into this stream today because we've got a longer stream than usual. For those who aren't aware, Zoe is in 5 different countries. It truly is an international organization. And every year they host a vision meeting where the 5 leaders of the countries will get together and they'll share the work that they have done in the past year and what they're going to cast vision for into the future. It's this really awesome opportunity just to hear the heart of what is happening in these different countries around the world and the amazing work that Zoe is doing. The vision meeting was just held this past Monday, so just a few days ago. And we know a lot of you weren't able to make it, or if you did happen to miss it, or you had no idea, we just thought we'd give you guys another opportunity to hear from the leaders if you were interested in kind of more of the work that's happening here at this organization. So we're going to play that recording from the Zoom meeting. We'll still be in chat. There'll still be staff here live. So if you do have any questions live, please let us know and we will get back to you on that. But yeah, we just want to give you an opportunity to see the work that's happening here. So without further ado, we will play the Zoom meeting. Hope you guys enjoy. And if you guys have any questions about Zoe or child trafficking, please visit endchildtrafficking.org to learn more information. Again, thank you guys all for joining us today, and we will see you very soon.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Zoe's Global Vision Meeting. We really are grateful that you've taken time to join. Today's about one thing. It's really celebrating what God is doing and will be doing through Zoe around the world because of your partnership. You're going to hear brief updates today from our global leaders, reports of what God is doing in Thailand, Mexico, Australia, Japan, and right here in the USA. After that, you're going to hear from our founders, Michael and Carol Hart. Why do we do this? Well, because Zoe is more than an organization. It really is a movement of people, and you're part of that movement. Each of you, through your prayers, through your giving, through your encouragement, you're standing with us on the front lines of rescue, prevention, and restoration, as well as reaching the world with the message of Jesus. When you hear these updates, I want you to see yourself in the story. Every person who hears the message of Jesus, every child that is protected, every life that is restored, every rescue that's carried out, you share in that story. This isn't just about what has happened, but also about what's ahead. Today, you'll hear glimpses of the doors God is opening and opportunities before us. And the hope is, the hope that continues to grow as we move forward together. So as we listen to each country leader, let's celebrate what God has done. And I'd just say lean in with expectancy for what is to come. And remember that together, we are carrying his heart for the nations and his passion for every child. If you have any questions during this webinar, our team will be monitoring the chat and responding to your questions. So feel free, fill up that chat, and our team members will be answering. We're going to start today by sharing a glimpse of what's happening in the USA. I'll be highlighting 2 ways that we are combating human trafficking in the USA through rescue and prevention, and then you're going to hear from 3 other U.S. staff members. I want to start with this, though. The problem is this. Human trafficking is a multi-billion-dollar criminal enterprise, and California has the most reported cases in the nation, and LA has the most reported cases in California. There are kids as young as 12 and 14 years old being trafficked right now on the streets of LA. Well, law enforcement, they want to identify victims and get them the help that they need. Law enforcement has invited Zoe on site to help, which is such a privilege. We really see it as God opening the doors to allow us to be in such a strategic place. We're there to help identify and talk to potential victims and to offer services. Victims are often hidden in plain sight, and they're really slow to admit that they're a victim. So Zoe advocates become that safe place to offer hope or even pray with them when they're open and ask for that. Earlier this year, we assisted with a statewide operation to combat human trafficking. 177 victims were rescued across California. 11 of those were juveniles, and 7 of those juveniles, they were found right here in LA. One young lady recovered at a sting was kidnapped at 16 and was forced into a life that she never chose. She said to me and the advocates with tears running down her face, "Every time I'm with a man, I feel like a piece of me dies." Because law enforcement and Zoe were there, she didn't have another piece of her die that night. These strategic interventions help stop a cycle of abuse and can have generational impact. Zoe's going to continue to be out there at these stings, but we are also working to stop it before it starts through prevention efforts. Earlier this year, an 18-year-old with autism was spending time online where she was groomed by a trafficker who pretended to care. She was lured and then went missing and was held for days until, by a miracle, she was found and rescued by LAPD. Well, the FBI estimates that 500,000 child predators from around the world are online every single day. Well, and we've heard that 52% of parents don't have any protection on their devices. They don't even know how to turn it on their phones, their Wi-Fi, or their game systems. So we want to help fill that gap. At Zoe, we are coordinating with partner churches and ICAC, that's Internet Crimes Against Children. It's a law enforcement task force. And we partner with them to equip families and communicate on how to protect their children to be online safely. These events provide a chance to hear from those fighting on the front line to get practical tips on how to protect your families. We've conducted 3 of these events live in different cities. We've equipped hundreds of families, as well as provided online training to reach as many as possible. The day after one of our events, a predator attempted to lure a juvenile to an abandoned mall for exploitation. Her mom identified the warning signs for this type of predatory strategy the day before at our Protecting Kids online event. And she was able to spot the scheme and she stopped the threat. That's why we do these. Our next event will be in Idaho, a place where Zoe now has a full volunteer team on the ground beginning prevention and awareness work. Idaho's Attorney General's office heard of what we were doing, and they requested to partner with us and their ICAC teams to do similar training in Idaho. This event will be at 10 Mile Church in Meridian, Idaho on Thursday. You can sign up if you're in the area and go to gozoe.org/Idaho. New this year, we're also offering families help with our Zoe Tech Squad. It's a team of tech volunteers who can assist families in how to turn on safety features on their devices, networks, gaming platforms. If you need real-time help, you can email techsquad@gozoe.org, and one of our team members will be in touch with you to help you get set up. We've also created many online resources to explain this as well. For Apple iPhone, Android phones, Roblox, Xbox, and more. We also have a conversation starter on how to have safety conversations with your kids. So please check out the website. There are a lot of resources for you there. As we move ahead, we plan to expand our prevention resources with this effort to provide live events in cities in the USA. If you think you have a church interested in hosting an event, please reach out to us at events@gozoe.org and watch our website. We have upcoming events happening in various cities. Also, please keep an eye out for our Zoe Rescue Walk. Last year, we were in 7 locations globally, and we look to increase that this year for 2025. Now, I'd like to introduce Esther, who will be sharing on our prevention efforts, as well as what happens with restoration efforts once a child or youth victim is identified.
Thank you, Dave. So for our prevention efforts here in Los Angeles County, We have made incredible progress just creating a teen curriculum. So now we are in the schools educating teenagers how to protect themselves from human trafficking and online grooming. We are also engaging with school social workers. And after we do the trainings with school social workers, we are able to do consultation. And we've already gotten many calls after our trainings from the social workers asking us to consult about potential victims that are in their schools, as well as even those that may be involved in being used by the traffickers to recruit other students out of the schools. We've also had community members through these trainings contact us about potential victims in their communities. We recently was able to do a training for Homeboy Industries and the school there for the boys and the girls, and the response from both the boys and the girls have been very positive as they are seeing exactly what we're talking about in their schools and in their communities. So we continue to provide more trainings for the community, including hospitals and hotels. We recently was able to provide a training for the Children's Hospital of Los Angeles staff. And they also mentioned that it was really helpful for them to be able to help identify potential victims that they're working with in their clinical programs as well. And then next, I wanted to talk about our advocacy program. What we've been able to do with our advocacy program is in the restoration aspect. What we've been able to do is provide ongoing support for foreign national victims. We are now a Trafficking Victims Assistance Program official provider of victim advocacy services for those who are foreign national victims. We've been able to help those that are rescued from massage parlors, on the streets, in hotels, as well as anyone that is referred to us through this program. We've been able to have great success for foreign national victims who are disclosing as victims to us, especially those that are forced to work in massage parlors and have come over from China. And we're able to then connect them to ongoing resources and support for their healing. And those that we have served in our advocacy program, we had served over 300 children and families for the course of 4.5 years. We continue to support any of those individuals that is wanting ongoing support, and we have been able to continue to support them with any help that they're needing ongoingly if they're in crisis or just connecting them to safe supports in their lives after having received support from us in our advocacy program. We continue to receive referrals for help in crisis, in case management, resource and referral, and even in victim witness support in the courtrooms. We get referrals from social workers, probation officers, churches, hospitals, and the community at large. And then next, being able to speak about just some success stories. We had one young girl who was brought over by her mom from another country and forced to work in a massage parlor by her mother when she was a child. And when we met her, she was 18 and she was still working in this massage parlor while also attending school. After receiving support and help from us and law enforcement, we were able to connect her to an attorney who was able to assist her with ongoing support, legal supports, and we were able to connect her to a safe house. She graduated from high school this year. She is working now. She actually recently just moved into an apartment of her own with a roommate. She's enrolled in community college and she wants to work in a preschool. And so we continue to support her as well. And then just also another story is a child that we had been working with since she was 13. We had continued to provide support for her and her family. We were able to collect evidence of perpetrators that were exploiting her. She was drug addicted, abused by a female and a male exploiter from another county. And over the course of several years, we were actually able to help the case come to prosecution with the FBI getting involved. And recently her case was brought to trial. One of the exploiters pled guilty and the exploiter took it to trial and he was found guilty and they were both sentenced to over 20 years. And so we continue to support this child and the family. She's actually now 17 years old and we continue to support her with anything that she needs in her healing journey. And then next, I want to introduce our West Coast Clinical Director, Lawrence Franklin, who will be speaking about our home.
Thank you, Esther. And hello, everyone. I'm here to share with you another restoration program called Zoe Home for Youth, or also known as ZHY. ZHY has been providing residential care for kids in Los Angeles County since August 2021 and have been providing mental health services for all our residents since we received our certification from the state of California in July 2023. We take in girls ages 12 to 17 years old who have been identified as survivors of sexual exploitation and referred by the Los Angeles Departments of Child Welfare and Child Probation. To date, ZHY have served to restore over 35 girls. ZHY is a state program called Short-Term Residential Therapeutic Program, a service that provides kids a place to stay and receive therapeutic services. Replacing the old model called group homes, STRTP or short-term residential therapeutic programs is designed to transition kids out of the government system and into a traditional home environment. Although sometimes longer, this program aims to move kids into a family environment within 6 months using intensive mental health services. Our treatment goals here at ZHY addresses those overt and underlying needs the kids and their families have that drive their harmful behaviors. A few achievements that have been that we've been able to help and reduce is running away. We've also achieved helping kids abstain from drugs and alcohol. We help them engage in mental health services. We also healed and restored family relationships. We've seen kids graduate high school. We've seen them use words instead of aggression to communicate their needs. And best of all, we've also seen kids have a relationship with Jesus Christ. A most recent success story I like to share is a young girl who suffered years of abuse and trauma from her family. It led to her abusing drugs. It led to her cutting herself and connecting with unsafe people who then exploited her. When she came to our program, she hadn't gone a whole month without being admitted into a mental health hospital, a place she frequently went to when she felt like she was going to be rejected or she felt like caregivers or people around her did not care for her. Well, with the skills of our staff and the guidance of the Holy Spirit, we were able to support her to go 6 months without cutting herself. Yes, 6 months. She went from going to the hospital every month to not going to the hospital at all. She ended up attending school on a regular basis. She attended an internship as a nail technician, and she had transitioned to a foster family, which was her goal. A set of parents she has now called mom and dad is actually in the process of being adopted. And now to hear more great work that is happening, I'd like to turn it over to Brad Ortenzi, who's our Eastern USA Regional Director.
Well, hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to share what God's doing here on the East Coast. Thank you, Lawrence, for that introduction. So some really great things been happening on the East Coast, and we're just blessed to be a part of what God is doing. So tonight, real quick, I'm just going to talk about a few things. Our human trafficking awareness training, the mentorship and advocacy we've been able to do. Some of that is frontline stuff, our prevention work, and our task force coordination and collaboration. So let's talk about the awareness training. So we've been really asked to do a bunch of awareness training. We do that at churches, social service agencies, businesses, schools, hospitals, hotels, and community groups. Last year in 2024, we did over 55 awareness training sessions. And so far this year in 2025, we're about at 32. So we're just really excited. We get to share what human trafficking is, what human trafficking is not, but also how people can help, and really what Zoe's been a part of on our frontline stuff. Next, I'd like to talk about our mentorship program. We are able to collaborate with partners to identify vulnerable youth. Here at Zoe International, prevention is a large part of what we're doing. We'll do that hard work every day to pull women and children out of human trafficking, but we should be wise in going ahead of the problem and trying to cut the problem off before anyone is trafficked. So our mentorship is part of that prevention part. So we've identified the most vulnerable children in both Berks and Lancaster County, 2 counties here in Southeast Pennsylvania. And we're able to come alongside them, insulate their life to not only stop them from being trafficked, but also a lot of ministry happens within our mentorship program as well. Next slide. So our advocacy services. So we are able to provide advocacy for women identified in law enforcement operations. On the East Coast here, we're really blessed that every sting that the Berks and Lancaster County Human Trafficking Task Forces are part of, we're there on the front lines. Our advocates are there, ready to offer ongoing relationship to all the women that we meet on the stings. And then we support survivors using various resources. We stay in contact with them if they want to stay in contact with us. Sometimes we meet women that are not being trafficked, but are providing services online. So we come alongside them to provide services so they can come out of that life of the work that they are in. We also do some prevention outreach. So here we collaborate with regional stakeholders. We facilitate groups for at-risk. We see the picture there for equine therapy. We've really been blessed to come alongside and do some prevention in some very unique ways. Next slide. So our task force coordination and collaboration. Here, God has really done some amazing things to allow Zoe to be the coordinating organization for 2 county task forces in Southeast Pennsylvania, where we can help to identify victims, investigate suspected trafficking, help to recover victims, and watch the task force kind of fill the gaps and do the things that we're doing. Next slide. So what's ahead for us? Real quickly, we've been building our team here on the East Coast, so we really want to pour a lot of love and attention to our staff here. Our staff does a lot of hard work, trauma-informed care. It's not easy, so we want to make sure that the staff has everything they need. But secondly, we really want to just take a great look at what we're doing with the work with both human trafficking task forces and make them a more robust task force. There's some gaps that we're still, as a coordinating agency, looking to fill. So a lot of exciting stuff here happening on the East Coast. And lastly, I'd like to just end with a quick testimony of what God's doing. Earlier this year, our Zoe advocates met Kara, that's not a real name, but met her on a sting in Lancaster County. And she had warrants, but she did admit that she was being trafficked. Our advocates came alongside her, created a great relationship with her, so much so that she reached out from prison, and now our advocates are contacting her in prison and visiting her in prison, and she has rededicated and given her life back to Jesus. And just a great opportunity for us to share Jesus on the stings while we do the work that God has called us to do. So thank you for your attentiveness tonight, and we just really appreciate that you being along this journey with us.
Great. Thank you, Brad, for sharing that. Thank you also, Lawrence and Esther, for those updates. We want to now turn our attention to Zoe, Mexico.
¿Listos?
Listos.
Que comencemos.
Buen día a todos. Gracias, muchas gracias por estar aquí.
I hope you're having a great day, and thank you so much for being part of this global mission for us to be able to share what we need to share regarding the children.
México está viviendo una crisis de seguridad para las familias.
Mexico it's living right now, it's going through a crisis right now where the safety of a Mexican family is really, forgive me, it's really a big crisis.
El cártel está involucrado en todos los niveles de gobierno.
The cartels are in everything that the government has. The cartels are actually part of the government. In every area of the government of Mexico, they are always in every situation.
Como Soy México, tenemos que trabajar con sabiduría y determinación.
So in Mexico, we have to work with such wisdom and determination
para llegar a los niños y jóvenes que lo necesitan.
To be able to reach all children and youth that are in need.
En Soy México estamos trabajando para influir en las nuevas leyes en favor del cuidado de los niños.
In Mexico, we are working towards working with the government and to be able to apply, be part of new laws, so Mexico and families can change.
También trabajamos para influir en los medios de comunicación
We also are working really hard to influence ourselves in communication in all social platforms and any form of communication.
en la educación
In education,
y en el liderazgo en las iglesias e instituciones
leadership, churches, and institutions
para cuidar a los niños y jóvenes.
to take care of the children and youth.
Next slide, please.
We signed an agreement with SNTE 50, the Teachers Syndicate of Nuevo León, Mexico. We trained 120 teachers on crucial subjects such as child sex abuse, dangers on the internet, and human trafficking. With the campaign, Let's Protect the Innocence of Childhood, our teachers will share vital information to elementary and preschools in the most vulnerable areas of Nuevo León. Our goal is clear: to reach 9,000 children and adolescents.
Luego del convenio que se llevó a cabo entre la sección 50 del Sindicato Nacional de Trabajadores de la Educación y SOE México, más de 120 voluntarios capacitados recorrieron escuelas de nuestro estado con el programa Hoy Más que Nunca, Todos Cuentan. Dirigentes, normalistas y trabajadores de la educación llevaron regalos a los niños, pero sobre todo un mensaje claro de prevención contra el acoso, la violencia y el abuso infantil.
En México hemos entrenado a más de 640 maestros.
In Mexico, we have trained more than 600 teachers.
Hemos entrenado a más de 1,000 padres
We have trained more than 1,000 parents
y a más de 11,000 estudiantes.
and more than 11,000 students.
Y ha sido solo un programa que mostramos, pero hemos trabajado con otras instituciones para entrenar a estudiantes, a maestros y a padres de familia.
Pepe, fuiste muy rápido.
Sorry.
¿Puedes repetirlo?
Sí. Hemos entrenado en otras instituciones y en otros estados de México a estudiantes, a padres de familia y a maestros.
We have not only trained people in the state of Oaxaca, but in other, we have the privilege to train other teachers in other states of Mexico.
Next, please.
We face the challenge of reaching children, girls, and teenagers in remote areas with limited internet access. Our goal was to teach them how to protect themselves, preventing sexual harassment and human trafficking. The approach had to be simple, easy to understand, and subtle, to reduce resistance from adults who might feel targeted. Unfortunately, most cases of sexual abuse occur within the family environment. We went back to basics, using our character Zion the Lion. We created a group of puppet friends and turned them into a memory game. This made them the main messengers of our prevention messages. The Zoe Memory Game has reached children, girls, and teens in rural areas.
Seguimos trabajando con 105 niños de comunidades indígenas de todo el estado.
We continue to work with 105 children, and we are doing prevention through games, children, and I'm sorry, I can't hardly read. And We are training also native communities that have allowed us to enter in those sections.
Next, please. En este internado damos discipulado.
In this boarding house, we give discipleship.
Consejos prácticos para el autocuidado de los niños.
I advise that it's very practical for the children to be able to put in practice.
Y apoyo psicológico porque son niños que están con omisión de cuidados y descuido por parte de sus padres.
And we have been able to give psychological support because many of these children have already gone through so much with their families, and some of them are not even with parents.
Next, please.
Happy birthday, Jesus Festival. 15 years of bringing the joy of the Word of God to Mexico. We call on the entire Christian community. Pastors, leaders, organizations, and churches to bring the message of Jesus Christ together to the entire city. Get ready for the biggest music festival, evangelism, worship, celebration, show for children, youth artists, and for the whole family. Thousands of people have found a new life with Jesus. Be part of the experience. Happy birthday, Jesus, the festival that gives you tools to grow and strengthen your church. SOEM, Mexico is bringing hope to millions. In December 2024, we reached 2 million people on social networks. Our festivals in Puebla and Oaxaca brought together 8,000 attendees, and we celebrated that hundreds accepted Jesus as their Lord and Savior. Happy birthday, Jesus, it's coming. Are you ready?
El Festival de Navidad que trabajamos con las iglesias de México.
We are working with many churches in Mexico.
Y en un siguiente slide, next slide, please. Estamos trabajando, lanzamos el primer podcast de prevención para Latinoamérica.
We actually launched the first podcast that will go in all Latin America.
El video, por favor.
You can...
En SOE Podcast es la puerta de la prevención y protección a nuestras niñas, niños y adolescentes.
Pueden encontrarnos en SOE en español. Muchas gracias.
You can find us in SOE Spanish and it will be in español.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thank you for our fearless Zoe Mexico team. That was a great presentation. Next up, we zoe Thailand.
Hi, my name is Ben Wood. I'm the Missionary Care Director in Thailand. I've been serving with Zoe Thailand for 10 years, and I have the pleasure today to represent our excellent Thai leadership team, along with our 120 Thai staff and 15 missionaries to share with you about Zoe Thailand. I'm going to just start by talking a little bit about the vision and the mission. Zoe Thailand continues to fulfill God's mission to us to reach every person, rescue every child. We're committed to rescuing children from human trafficking, at-risk orphans, and those without guardians. We fight for those who cannot fight for themselves. But this commitment stems from our goal to see all of Thailand reach with the gospel of Jesus. I want to talk just real quick about the human trafficking problem in Thailand. So the human trafficking situation in Thailand for 2024-2025 remains critical, with perpetrators using sophisticated social media tactics to increasingly target and victimize children. Victims range between the ages of 11 to 17 years old, but they can be as young as infants. Over the years, Zoe has assisted in 529 human trafficking cases, rescuing 1,023 victims, with 790 perpetrators being brought to justice. For over 20 years, Zoe has collaborated closely with the Thai law enforcement and multidisciplinary teams on challenging and dangerous cases. We also give support within the justice process. Zoe supports Thai government agencies at every level: investigations, rescues, prosecutions, and court proceedings, ensuring comprehensive child protection. In 11 cases that included children at Zoe, multiple perpetrators received a combined 1,255 years in prison. And we do all that because our goal is to bring freedom to those in slavery. In 2024-2025, Zoe and our partners rescued 35 children from human trafficking, providing them with care and support at Zoe. In addition, Zoe provided Celebrite support, assisting Thai police with extracting crucial data from 25 devices that helped in the rescue of an additional 36 children. We don't pressure children to believe in Jesus, but many choose to embrace him. In 2025, 49 children accepted Jesus, with 39 being baptized before leaving Zoe, experiencing remarkable restoration and transformation. I'm going to share just one of the children's stories. We're going to call her Jessie in the story. That's not her real name, but Jessie was born into poverty and was abandoned when her parents separated. And she sought acceptance from harmful friends when she was in middle school. She then moved in with her stepsister, which led to her being trafficked and forced into sexual services for over 42 men, with her stepsister taking all those profits. She was rescued by Zoe, and Jessie felt as though she had escaped total slavery and found safety with supportive Zoe's social workers and her Zoe mother during stressful investigations and court prep. Through the love of Zoe's staff, Jessie embraced Jesus, saying, "I never thought my life could change this much. God answered my prayer." She was baptized at Zoe, and she now studies law independently, aspiring to become a lawyer to advocate for vulnerable children. We're going to talk just real quick about our prevention and awareness program. So Zoe deploys teams to raise human trafficking awareness and educate children, youth, and at-risk groups in urban, rural, and the border areas. In 2024 and 2025, Zoe reached 15,939 people through in-person efforts. As a part of our outreaches, through our partnership with Life Outreach International, we distributed 11,144 pairs of shoes to impoverished and vulnerable children. Through our prevention program, we've received public tips, collaborated with the government agencies to provide aid, and built networks with churches and communities. Recently, we partnered with over 30 urban and border area schools to combat human trafficking. We're now going to talk a little bit about our Reach Every Person and our leadership training program in Thailand. Zoe's 2-year leadership training program aims to develop influential Thai leaders and to share the gospel through dramas, music, and media. During the last year, the gospel was preached to over 11,000 people, and 2,458 people accepted Jesus as their Savior. Just stop for a minute, and that's the best, right? 2,458 people accepted Jesus. At each of their outreaches, our students also encourage and pray for those who are at the outreaches. Zoe has also partnered with Children's Hunger Fund to create a network of pastors throughout Thailand, known as the Mercy Network, with the goal of helping the poor and bringing the gospel to their communities. We are partnered with 83 pastors in Thailand who delivered 17,610 food boxes to poor families and shared the gospel with them. We're going to talk just about our God Project next. So alongside our in-person gospel and prevention outreaches that I just talked about, Zoe's global online directive, known as the God Project, creates evangelistic online media and anti-trafficking online media. 99% of Thailand's Thailand's population does not know Jesus as their Savior. We create evangelistic articles and videos that we post on social media. In 2024 and 2025, we had 9,100,000 impressions and 374,000 engagements on our evangelistic content. Also, most of Thailand's population lack awareness of human trafficking. Over 400,000 Thai children aged 12 to 17 years old have been exploited online. Our team also creates content to bring an end to human trafficking that we post on social media. In 2024-2025, we had 7,600,000 impressions and 168,000 engagements on our anti-trafficking content. And I want to talk about our strategic plan for preventing and suppressing human trafficking. Zoe Thailand is strategically planning to end human trafficking. Here are some of the goals that we're looking at for the upcoming year. So number one, we want to produce innovative gospel and human trafficking content for all ages. Number two, we want to enhance our cooperation and support in investigative efforts for law enforcement authorities. And number three, we want to improve national policies and procedures for rescue, restoration, and prosecution in collaboration with network partners. And number four, we want to expand the reach of the Mercy Network by partnering with pastors along the Myanmar and Thai border. We're going to continue to innovate, grow, set new goals until we see the end of human trafficking. And last, I just want to say thank you. Countless children remain unaware of human trafficking dangers and lack knowledge to protect themselves. And the vast majority of times people do not know Jesus. With your generous support, Zoe International is steadfast in our mission to end child trafficking in Thailand and globally while sharing the gospel with everyone. We're deeply grateful for your love and sacrifice, which fuel our relentless commitment to reach every person and rescue every child. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben, and thank you for the entire Thai team and all the work that you're doing out there. It's always moving to hear those numbers that represent individual lives. So great work. Next, we're going to be hearing from our Zoe Japan team. So I'm going to turn it over to Daniel and Anna-Ree.
Minasan konnichiwa. Good day to everyone all the way from Japan. My name is Daniel and this is Anna-Ree, Director at Zoe Japan. And first of all, just a huge thank you for everyone standing with us in this really important fight. We can go to the first slide. So some of you might be wondering, why does Zoe exist in Japan? And firstly, Japan is one of the largest unreached people groups in the world. Over 99% of people in Japan do not know Jesus as their savior, and over 95% do not actually know a Christian. So there's just such a big need for reaching the 123 million souls living on this island. Secondly, child exploitation and trafficking is growing rapidly. It's especially online. And the concern right now is that Japan is gaining a reputation as a destination for sex tourism. So there's just so much work to be done here. We would love to start with a short video just highlighting some of our activities here at Zoe Japan.
At Zoe Japan, prevention is key in our fight against child trafficking. But what does it look like? Firstly, meet Zoe-chan, our mascot that helps young children to recognize and report sexual exploitation. Thousands of teens are educated every year through our school seminars, Japanese-style manga, social media posts, and website, using interactive quizzes to help them recognize that they may be victims of exploitation. Our free seminars and videos for parents help them to recognize signs of exploitation and access support resources. Our Zoe Japan hotline handles real cases, connecting survivors with the services they need. Our team and volunteers work tirelessly to prepare materials, organize events, and build relationships with our trusted partners. But none of this is possible without you. Thank you for helping us reach every person and rescue every child.
Next slide, please.
Now, over the past 8 months, we have seen God move in absolutely amazing and incredible ways, and especially in one of the major red light districts where we run an outreach program for exploited youth. And we are dealing mostly with teenage girls, sometimes boys as well, and they are trapped in sex trafficking. We see a lot of self-harm, and just the need is just so great in that area. And we even see young men that are in debt bondage, and some of them are acting as traffickers by connecting these vulnerable girls with potential buyers. Now, during one of our outreach events, there was one of the young men actually that really stood out to us. He is what we call a host in Japan. So that is someone that works at a host bar, and he basically uses or manipulates the romantic feelings of these young girls, which very often leads to exploiting them for prostitution. And during this event, we showed a Christian video that just talks about how the labels that other people put on us does not define our worth, because our value comes from God. And it was amazing to see as this young man watched this video, because the Holy Spirit just moved powerfully and he completely broke down in tears. And, you know, working in this area, it's easy to feel compassion for the victims, for the young girls. But in that moment, God really reminded us that the perpetrators are deeply broken and they are in need of healing and in need of salvation as well. And it really challenged us as a team to see them through God's eyes and just to extend grace to everyone. And we are very, very excited about all the things happening, particularly with this outreach program. Next slide, please. Now, the rescue walk this year was fantastic. It was so much fun. We tried to do something different in Japan. So for the first time, we had the rescue walk on a beach in Yokohama City, and about 100 people joined, which is quite significant for Japan. And we were able to raise awareness. We were able to connect with other people that were just beachgoers through quizzes and games and just handing out Zoe branded frisbees. So it was a great day and also a great opportunity to connect with many of the partners that are on the call today. So thank you so much for that. Next slide, please.
For the gospel, we continue to push forward in sharing the gospel across Japan. And in the past few months, we've released 2 new testimony videos and also launched a new website that just better communicate with our audience. Next slide, please. We are also on the verge of releasing 8 Japanese music videos, which we have produced in collaboration with our Thailand media team, which was a huge success, and we are really excited about that. And these music videos are meant to just show Japanese how Christians worship. You can do it any place, anytime, just to give them more exposure to that. The next slide, thank you. We realized that these testimony videos not only touches or reach the non-Christians, but also the local believers. One of the gentlemen that we have filmed, we released this video, and he was just overwhelmed to see his own story live. He watched it over 10 times right away, and he just couldn't believe that God was using his life to share the gospel. And he was so excited afterwards just to go out and tell everyone about Jesus. Next slide, please.
Yeah, it's so exciting to see when people connect with the gospel and also just with the trafficking awareness education. It's been a really, really busy year for us so far with in-person education. We're a really small team, but we have already seen more than 1,700 participants in person at our Zoe awareness events this year. So you can just see some of the sessions on the screen there. Next slide, please. But the real story here for Zoe Japan is really our online reach. We distribute an enormous amount of content online every week. And we use paid ads to just maximize our reach to teenagers. And on this slide, you can see the reach over the last 3 years, and specifically look at the section in the middle. So our trafficking awareness activities peaked online last year, where we had more than 600,000 teenagers engaging with our content in a meaningful way. So visiting our website or doing those quizzes or just liking and sharing the content. And this is really important because that's how they get connected to our hotline. Unfortunately, this year, we expect only to reach about half those numbers. And the reason is that we had a malicious attack on one of our major social media channels in April, and we are still recovering from that and restarting that platform. But we should be back on track very, very soon.
Yes, and for the top row, sorry, the previous slide, on the top row, the gospel content, we grew from about 4,500 views in 2023 to over 140,000 views in the past 3 years. So that's really exciting. And our gospel YouTube channel had a few thousand new subscribers, which is really exciting. We know people are hungry and they want to learn to know more. There's still a gap between people viewing the content and actually making or taking a step towards faith. And that is what we are focusing on right now. Next slide, thanks. Moving forward, we keep exploring the best possible ways to bring the gospel within reach of people, to make it really tangible for them, and to connect them afterwards with local believers.
And then on the trafficking side, as we mentioned, we have that outreach program that we are piloting in the red light district, and it's going really, really well. God is really blessing us and giving us so much favor there. But the next step for us is to do a gap analysis, looking at the services that are currently available for these young teenagers, and just seeing what the gap is and how we can move towards closing those gaps as quickly as possible. And then in the trafficking space, our highest priority continues to remain the online exploitation, and then also children that are being exploited for child sexual abuse material. And we are working on model legislation to spark dialogue with policymakers and look at the changes that are needed to prevent exploitation and also to rescue these children. And while we already have quite a strong foundation with our prevention education programs, we have a number of projects in the pipeline, including a new curriculum for teachers, elementary through high school, just to better equip them to identify and prevent exploitation.
Lastly, we are just so incredibly grateful for everyone that's involved and supporting us with prayers, encouragement. You guys would never imagine how much that means to us. That is what keeps the front lines going. We would really appreciate if you can keep partnering with us by praying for our team. We are really in need of more Japanese staff. And we are also looking at a new office location, which is more central to Tokyo. Also, if you can just pray for our outreach program in the heart of the city, which is at a critical stage right now, but we are very excited about it. Yeah. And if you would like to know more or have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. And we just love you guys and thank you.
Thank you.
That was a great report. Thank you, Japan. We are standing with you. We're praying with you. And we'd like to now turn our attention to Zoe, Australia.
Fantastic. Wow, it's been a good report so far, hasn't it?
Amazing.
Amazing to hear all the things that are being done. So yes, my name's David and I'm here with Andrea, and we're going to do a little update about the work that's going on here in Australia. And so we'll start with the problem, the challenges. It is quite a challenge when it comes to the area of looking at child trafficking, specifically domestically here in Australia. Since the inception of the law, there's only been one case, one conviction of domestic child trafficking. And so when we look at the data, when we look at the numbers, we're seeing year on year that reports for trafficking and slavery continue to rise. And so there's more work to be done, a lot of cases and a lot of emphasis at the moment when it comes to this crime around children relates to areas such as forced marriage. But when it comes to the sexual exploitation of children in trafficking or slavery-like practices or situations, we're just not being able to currently identify these children. And so this is a real challenge for us. It's very heartbreaking. We had the United Nations Special Rapporteur come out to Australia, and she released a report earlier this year. And one of the things that she found within her report is that children and young people who have experienced exploitation for sexual purposes, that's in Australia, and she said many of whom may be victims of child trafficking, they're not being identified, even when the relevant indicators may be present. So for us as a team, we've spent the last period of time meeting with people who are social workers, frontline workers, and we're hearing these anecdotal stories of children and situations that we would say this is definitely a situation of child trafficking. But we've identified in our team that there's been this gap when it comes to identifying children. And so it's interesting, the United Nations have also seen this when they've visited Australia. So as a team, we've spent maybe 3 years working with some lawyers pro bono and a barrister, and we've been creating an organisational report looking at cases that have been prosecuted here in Australia that we felt meet the definition of trafficking. And we presented that at a webinar earlier this year. Now, when you do these webinars, sometimes you think maybe 5 people will come, maybe you might get 20, but we had over 100 people register to come to this webinar to hear about the research that Zoe Australia has been working on. And so that was pretty significant. We had people from all over Australia, the Australian Federal Police, State Police, the National Children's Commissioner. We had people from the Department of Human Services or Department of Fairness, Family and Housing. We had people from the Attorney General's Office, the Australian Institute of Criminology. We had one group of law enforcement who work specifically in sexual crimes unit say that they were using the Zoe webinar as a training for their staff. And so we see that this webinar is a way of opening up more doors and more conversations and this organisational report about what is actually happening here in Australia, and then how do we identify more children here in our country. And so there's a lot of work to do in that space. And so probably our heartbeat, like you've heard from our different countries, is that we want to be part of solutions. We want to be helping the government to proceed, and we really want to build this level of restorative care in Australia, because the big gap for us is if a child was identified today, where would they go? And so that's heartbreaking to think that children who are removed from harm, we don't currently have specialised care like what we've had, and we've heard from our team in LA and we've heard from our team in Thailand. Our hope is to move towards developing this specialist care here in Australia. So that's one of the projects that's kind of cooking at the moment, one pot that's on the stove. But at the same time, we're just seeing that in Australia, there's a real lack of understanding that this even happens in our own country, that this even happens domestically. So we've been doing a range of different prevention and awareness activities. We've got walks that have been happening. We did one in Sydney earlier this year. We've got one coming up in Melbourne in October. And these are just great events. We've had law enforcement come to these events as well and be part of the day. And so that's really significant to keep building awareness about this. But I might pass to you and you could talk a little bit more about the prevention game.
Yeah, thank you. We're so excited about this. And just before I get into the game, I wanted to share how one of the players that we were playing with, who was about 9 years old, she picked up a warning card about a character who was asked to send photos online for a potential modeling job. And she smiled and she said, of course she would send the photos. It was like, but it was a perfect moment just to pause, and we explored why offers like that might seem exciting, like modeling, can sometimes be unsafe. And that's what the Treehouse game is all about. We don't see it just as a board game. We see it as a safe space for children to practice recognizing these unsafe situations, responding to tricky behavior, and learning how to seek help from safe people. So imagine being 10 years old and not knowing who you can trust, or being a child and just feeling like something's not right, but just not having the words or the confidence to be able to explain that. And we believe that we can change that through this game, and through something like play. So the Treehouse game, the purpose is to empower children with practical tools and protective strategies to help reduce their vulnerability to abuse and neglect and unsafe situations. We think that the sooner children have the language and the confidence and the strategies to speak up, then the sooner we can help protect them from harm. So the players take on a character who face relatable challenges like bullying or loneliness, or just feeling like they don't belong. And through playing the game, we see these powerful and sometimes small but powerful shifts in their understanding, which can spark these life-changing conversations. So last year we were able to pilot the game in several different schools and with different ages, and we're now up to the final stage in our design, and we're hoping to have our prototype in the next month.
Yay!
We're very excited.
It will be fantastic. And I think that's what we're finding, right? We're finding there's all these avenues or on-ramps towards exploitation. And so we have to do this awareness in so many different areas. And so There's a whole lot of going on here for our work in Australia, both working with those at risk and thinking about vulnerable children, all the way to speaking on radio, television, not television, radio, churches, all other different places around Australia to continue to create awareness and have people understand that this is actually an issue that happens here in our own country. And that is a pretty significant challenge for us at the moment, is building that awareness that this is actually a problem that happens here. So as we look ahead, things that we're kind of praying into, the launch of the Treehouse game, that is definitely something we're looking forward to. Our online courses continue to grow. We get about one person every other day joining our 6-hour online course. We've had about 757 enrollments into that course since we launched that. We just spoke at an event a couple of weeks ago and handed out curriculum to teachers, and we're currently at about 686 people have downloaded the free curriculum that secondary school teachers can use in their school. And so that's impacting students all around Australia. Huge challenge for us is increasing the identification of children. So how do we find these children that have been identified, that we're seeing in reports, and how do we then support them towards restoration, which is our new model? And then obviously we're part of a global team, which we love. And so we also raise finances in Australia to help support our programs overseas. And so for all of you who are on the call today from us here in Australia, no matter where you're joining from us in the world, we just cannot thank you enough. I think to see change is going to take the effort of all of us. And so we're just so incredibly thankful for the support that we get globally and for the way that everyone sacrifices so these children can be freed, healed, and restored. And so from us here in Australia, a huge thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David and Andy. That was great. Now it is my privilege to announce our Zoe founders, Michael and Carol Hart, who are going to share more of Zoe's vision.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Sorry about that. We just want to talk to you who are live with us right now, and then also those that might find this recording in your email box months after we recorded it. I think the most important thing for us today is for you to know how valuable you are and what your partnership has done to move us forward and to accomplish what is in God's heart and what He's asked us to do. I tell you, more than anything, that we love you and we appreciate you and we pray for you every single day. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Listen, today we happen to be in Thailand right now. And so Khop Khun Ka, thank you so much for your love and support. Now, this is the part of our video conference where we share vision, which describing vision for 5 countries will be challenging when we only have a few minutes remaining. So I can only give you a quick snapshot of our next steps. If you're interested in knowing more details, we'd love for you to reach out to us. Now, our most valuable resource for fulfilling the Zoe vision are the people we serve with. And that would be our Zoe staff, our volunteers, and you, our partners, our donors that move us forward. But before I start sharing the little snapshot, I want to tell you a quick story about a resource, a human resource, and an amazing young man who works with us here. I just heard this story yesterday, so I thought I'd squeeze it in. He's an investigator who works closely with our local and federal law enforcement. And he was praying and he was saying, God, show me where children are that are trafficked, that are hidden. God, just show me. And he prayed and he listened and he prayed. And one night he had a dream and he saw the front of a building. Well, he woke up the next morning and he remembered the front of the building, but he had never seen it before. He wasn't sure what it was all about. But as the week went on, he was driving our kids to appointments and different things, and he saw the building. And he saw the building in his dream. And so he, through a series of events, he contacted our police who we serve here in this great country, and who police that are so diligent and so good at what they do. And they work together, and through successful operations, they found 9 children in that restaurant, trafficked children. Isn't that incredible? And so, and again, that it's a perfect example of how we operate at Zoe. Without God, there is no hope, there is no help. He is, without question, the commander-in-chief of Zoe International. For Zoe West Coast USA, our next steps, we need to build additional small houses on our 50-acre property where we are already operating a specialized home for rescued children, rescue survivors of trafficking. Now, to start, we need to obtain a conditional use permit, which is an expensive and difficult first step. We need finances to move this part of the vision forward. Did you know that we don't pay a mortgage payment for our current LA restoration home? Everything is paid in full. No money is wasted on interest payments. We have plenty of healthy, filtered well water on the property for free. We put in solar, so year-round we pay nothing for electricity or heating, for electricity or air conditioning. We don't pay property taxes because we're a nonprofit. On that property, we have great self-sustainability. At our LA corporate headquarters, we need to purchase an office building. We currently rent office space. We want to lower our overhead and have more flexibility to host outreaches and community trainings in our own space. Renting is throwing away our finances every month. We hate it. For the first 15 years of Zoe, to save money, Zoe used our renovated garage as our corporate headquarters until our operation simply got too big. Our Zoe US East Coast team is extraordinary. It has extraordinary leadership, and it's not a mistake that we're there. They have an appetite to do great things for God, for children, for the gospel. They're kingdom builders on the East Coast, and they're ready for a restoration program out there. But it not only takes finances to set up an excellent restoration program, but it takes finances to sustain it. With Zoe Mexico, so many people are asking for our gospel festivals to come to their city, and you saw a little glimpse of that. Thousands of Mexico's people come to hear about Jesus at our festivals. Our team is expanding our reach to multiple cities this year with pastors and business people ready to and willing to help pay for the festival in their city. However, it still costs Zoe thousands of dollars for our part in these festivals. These outreaches are so effective, first class, powerful, and what our Zoe Mexico team calls Happy Birthday Jesus, it's not a subtle title, is it? It's awesome. This all happens during our Christmas season. We partner with local churches in the area, and hundreds, as was reported, makes Jesus the Lord of their lives. We also need to expand our Global On-Reach Directive, which is our God project. Ben talked a little bit about that. We need to expand that in Mexico and in every country. Why? It's our online prevention and gospel outreach program. We will not stop doing face-to-face prevention or face-to-face gospel events, but online is proven to reach millions quickly. This takes finances, and it is worth every penny, for sure. With Zoe Japan, our team needs to move our offices to the heart of Tokyo, closer to the red light district. That's what we need. They are doing outstanding work. They are a high caliber team. Moving our team closer to where the majority of most of the vulnerable children end up is expensive and needs finances. Most of the runaways in Japan do not leave their home because of rebellion, but because they're being abused in their home, being raped by their fathers or their stepfathers. Within minutes on the street, traffickers approach them and they disappear. We need finances to be there. Zoe Australia is ready to start a restoration program. It's expensive, like the US. And although the government might help, it's never enough to do what we need to do. We serve some of the most severe child trauma cases. We must be ready. Children are counting on us not to quit. After 23 years of doing this very challenging work, we are more convinced than ever that we are doing what matters to the heart of God, and that we, among others, will finish the task. We want to update you about Zoe Thailand. We are very serious about stewarding everything we have to last. Do you know that we have trucks with almost 400,000 miles on them? Most are 15 to 20 years old. We are still using them to transport children and students to school, church, and activities, as well as our teams to outreaches. Soon they will no longer be safe vehicles. We need replacement transport as quickly as possible. We're starting the process of building Discovery Street with $1.7 million that has come in so far for this project. We still need $1.8 million to complete everything. We've added a few more functions, and construction prices have increased worldwide. And we can finish many of the building exteriors with our first $1.7 million, but the funding we still need will complete the rest of the buildings, all the hardscape and landscape, the security systems, the fencing, exterior lighting, and all of the interiors, which is a huge part of the expenses remaining. If you want to know more about Discovery Street, just reach out to us and we'll send you material. Our Learning Center will be on Discovery Street. Let me tell you a very quick story. We hired 2 young teachers many years ago who had just graduated from university, dreaming of teaching at a government school, but instead chose to sacrifice their dream to come work for Zoe. They were asked to develop a learning center on our Thailand campus. This school is designed for children who are in danger and cannot leave our campus to attend traditional school. And the Learning Center is also for children who are too far behind in their education due to horrific circumstances or special needs. Last week, high-level government officials from the department or the Ministry of Education, they call it the Ministry of Education here, but we know it as the Department of Education, invited these 2 teachers to come to Bangkok to present the Zoe Learning Center as the preferred model for the entire country. Back when we started the Learning Center, back when they started the Learning Center, it was rare. Now learning centers are all over the place. These 2 teachers who sacrificed their careers to serve at Zoe are now the creators of their nation's Learning Center model. Ordinary people working for Zoe, giving and using the greatness God put in them. Ordinary people giving to Zoe, giving and using the greatness God put in them. That's how we get it done. Please pray with us that Discovery Street will be completed. Now, if you'd like to help us financially, please reach out to us. It's an essential part of our restoration program. We would love to hear from you. Thank you again so much for your partnership. Mwah! We love you, love you, love you, love you. Oh, next is my boyfriend. This is my husband of 36 years. This is 36 years. He's our CFO. He's my boss. He's the love of my life. I mean, he's my hobby. That's right. I needed to kill some time when you found your notes.
Hi, everyone. It's great to be with you, and I hope you're having a great time today. Hey, I wanted to just personally thank you for your generous support. And if I could share with you just a few facts about Zoe's management of your giving. A lot of people wonder, what happens to my money once I give it to a charity like Zoe. That's what I want to explain and give you an inside view of how Zoe spends and stewards your money. Well, first of all, Zoe International is a registered 501c3 nonprofit in the USA. And Carol and I are submitted to a 9-member board of directors. 6 of our directors are outside board members, which means that they are not relatives or employees. Zoe has legal subsidiary nonprofits in all the countries that we serve. So basically, we're legal everywhere we operate. Every country undergoes external financial audits annually. And our USA auditor does an international audit every single year. So you can view the audit reports online on our website. We are also a member of ECFA, which is the Evangelical Council for Financial Accountability. And we report to them every year in various financial compliance areas. We're also registered with GuideStar and Charity Navigator, which are rating services. We have national accreditation with CARF. So in transparency, we also post our IRS 990 forms on our website. We also do annual budgets in each country. Recently, we just did our budgets here in Thailand. We meet with every manager. We go over their goals and as well as, the expenses for the next coming year. So we do that like a year and a half out. I'm happy to report that typically we come in under budget every year. So we set our goals and then we plan our spending over a year out. Did you know that Zoe has no debt? I think Carol mentioned that, but she mentioned no debt on our LA home, but we have no debt anywhere. All our land, buildings, vehicles, and assets are paid for because we do our best to take care of what God has given us. Lastly, 80 to 85% of our expenses go toward our programs. So I just wanted to share a few details with you because you are our partners. So if you have any questions about anything, just please let us know. We appreciate you so much. Thank you so much for listening. We love you so much, and we'll turn it back to Dave. Thanks, Dave.
Great. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Carol. I think I'm on. Yeah. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Carol, for your leadership and for sharing that. We also want to thank all of you for logging in. Thank you for giving us your time. We consider it precious. Thank you for allowing us to share a glimpse of what we would say it's incredible work that God's doing across the nations. And it's our privilege to share breakthroughs that he brings and the vision that he brings. And each story reminds us why we're here, because together we believe every child deserves freedom and safety. We believe every person deserves the chance to know Jesus. But today isn't the end of the story. It's just a snapshot. There are more children to reach. There's more families to restore. There's communities to reach with the gospel. And God has invited us, all of us, to be part of that mission. That includes you. So as we leave today, we invite you to help us continue carrying on the vision with fresh faith and determination. So thanks for standing with us, for praying, for giving, for believing. Together we're advancing God's heart for the nations, and together we won't stop until every person is reached and every child's rescued. I want to share 2 Samuel 2:6. It says, "May the Lord now show you kindness and faithfulness, and I too will show you the same favor because you have done this." So from all of us at Zoe, we send you all of our love, all of our prayers. We really couldn't do it without you. We love you.
Over the past 10 years, human trafficking has grown exponentially. It's in our country,
our cities,
our homes.
Today, millions of children are trapped in modern-day slavery. Can it end? We've done it before.
History has shown that when enough dedicated people rally together, change is inevitable. All it can take is 10 minutes,
10 letters,
$10,
10 people telling others about the horrors of this industry. Human trafficking is the human rights issue of our time.
But it doesn't have to be.
Let's end it.